Capeville clearance. Good afternoon. UPS 1117 ready for pushback at Charlie 1.
Dynasty 8142 cleared to land runway 35 right.
UPS 1117 cleared for pushback. Capeville ground. UPS 1117 ready to taxi. UPS 1117 taxi to runway 35 left. Capeville clearance. Good afternoon. Blue Panorama 2111 ready for pushback at Bravo 3. Blue Panorama 2111 cleared for pushback. UPS 1117 continue taxi.
Spinnaker 8316 cleared to land runway 35 left.
Capeville ground. UPS 1117 with you.
Dynasty 8142 taxi to gate Charlie 1.
UPS 1117 cleared for takeoff runway 35 left. Blue Panorama 2111 taxi to runway 35 right. Capeville clearance. Good afternoon. Spirit 5185 ready for pushback at Alpha 4. Blue Panorama 2111 cleared for takeoff runway 35 right. Spirit 5185 cleared for pushback.
Capeville ground. Spinnaker 8316 taxi to the gates.
Capeville ground. Spirit 5185 ready to taxi.
Spinnaker 8316 taxi to gate Bravo 3.
Spirit 5185 taxi to runway 35 right.
Capeville Tower. Good afternoon. Malaysian 5360 is on approach. Malaysian 5360 cleared to land runway 35 left.
Capeville clearance. Good afternoon. Asiana 2743 ready for pushback at Bravo 2. Asiana 2743 cleared for pushback. Capeville ground. Asiana 2743 ready to taxi. Asiana 2743 taxi to runway 35 right. Capeville Tower. Spirit 5185 ready for takeoff runway 35 right. Spirit 5185 cleared for takeoff runway 35 right.
Spinnaker 8316 continue taxi. Capeville ground. Malaysian 5360 taxi to gate Alpha 4. Capeville ground. Spinnaker 8316 with you.
Alaska 90585 cleared for pushback.
Capeville Tower. Asiana 2743 ready for takeoff runway 35 right.
KLM 1824 cleared to land runway 35 left.
Asiana 2743 cleared for takeoff runway 35 right.
Alaska 90585 taxi to runway 35 right.
Malaysian 5360 continue taxi.
Berlin 4944 cleared to land runway 35 right.
Capeville ground. Malaysian 5360 with you.
Capeville clearance. Good afternoon. KLM 2475 ready for pushback at Alpha 3. Alaska 90585 cleared for takeoff runway 35 right. KLM 2475 cleared for pushback. Capeville Tower. Good afternoon. Spinnaker 7382 Mayday Mayday Mayday. Capeville ground. KLM 2475 ready to taxi.
Capeville ground. KLM 1824 taxi to the gates.
KLM 2475 taxi to runway 35 left.
KLM 1824 taxi to gate Bravo 2.
Capeville Ground, Berlin 4944 taxi to the gates.
Capeville clearance. Good afternoon. WestJet 2381 ready for pushback at Alpha 5.
Berlin 4944 taxi to gate Bravo 5.
Capeville Tower, KLM 2475 request to cross runway.
KLM 1824 continue taxi.
Capeville Ground, KLM 2475 with you.
Capeville Ground KLM 1824 with you.
Capeville Tower, KLM 2475 ready for takeoff runway 35 left.
Capeville clearance. Good afternoon. Transnorth 2529er ready for pushback at Charlie 3.
KLM 2475 cleared for takeoff runway 35 left. WestJet 2381 cleared for pushback.
Transnorth 2529er cleared for pushback. Capeville Ground Transnorth 2529er ready to taxi.
WestJet 2381 taxi to runway 35 left.
Transnorth 2529er taxi to runway 35 left.
Ural 90647 cleared for pushback. Capeville Ground, Ural 90647 ready to taxi. Ural 90647 taxi to runway 35 left. WestJet 2381 continue taxi.
Capeville Tower Transnorth 2529er request to cross runway.
Capeville Tower, good afternoon. Sri Lankan 2670 is on approach.
Capeville Ground Transnorth 2529er with you.
WestJet 2381 cleared for takeoff runway 35 left.
Transnorth 2529er cleared for takeoff runway 35 left.
Sri Lankan 2670 cleared to land runway 35 right.
Eva 1554 cleared to land runway 35 left.
Capeville Ground, Ural 90647 with you.
Qantas 69091 taxi to runway 35 right.
Capeville Tower, Ural 90647 ready for takeoff runway 35 left.
Air China 2308 cleared to land runway 35 right.
Capeville clearance. Good afternoon. Yellow Cab 9027 ready for pushback at Alpha 1. Yellow Cab 9027 cleared for pushback.
Capeville Ground, Sri Lankan 2670 requesting taxi to the gates.
Capeville Tower Qantas 69091 ready for takeoff runway 35 right. Air India 3858 cleared to land runway 35 left.
Capeville Ground Yellow Cab 9027 ready to taxi.
Ural 90647 cleared for takeoff runway 35 left.
Capeville Ground Eva 1554 taxi to the gates.
Yellow Cab 9027 taxi to runway 35 left.
Asiana 4673 cleared for pushback.
Qantas 69091 cleared for takeoff runway 35 right.
Capeville Ground Air China 2308 taxi to the gates.
Bangkok 5960 cleared to land runway 35 right.
Sri Lankan 2670 taxi to gate Alpha 1.
Asiana 4673 taxi to runway 35 left.
Eva 1554 taxi to gate Charlie 2.
Yellow Cab 9027 continue taxi.
Air Canada 3612 cleared to land runway 35 right.
Capeville Ground Eva 1554 with you.
Capeville Ground Yellow Cab 9027 with you.
Air China 2308 requesting taxi to the gates.
Yellow Cab 9027 cleared for takeoff runway 35 left.
Asiana 4673 continue taxi.
Finnair 6075 taxi to runway 35 left.
Capeville Ground Asiana 4673 with you.
Singapore 4276 cleared to land runway 35 left.
Asiana 4673 cleared for takeoff runway 35 left.
Capeville Tower Air India 3858 request to cross runway Air India 3858, continue taxi.
Qatari 1627 cleared for pushback. Korean V8.2.8 cleared to land runway 35 right.
Finnair 6075 continue taxi. Capeville Ground Finnair 6075 with you.
Capeville Ground Air India 3858 with you.
Capeville Ground Dynasty 8143 ready to taxi.
Bangkok 5960 taxi to gate Alpha 3.
Finnair 6075 cleared for takeoff runway 35 left.
Qatari 1627 continue taxi.
Air China 2308 taxi to gate Alpha 5.
Capeville Ground Qatari 1627 with you.
Air Canada 3612 taxi to gate Bravo 4.
Qatari 1627 cleared for takeoff runway 35 left.
Singapore 4276 taxi to gate Charlie 1.
Dynasty 8143 taxi to runway 35 left.
Korean V858 taxi to gate Charlie 3.
Capeville Tower, good afternoon. Egypt Air 4878 is on approach. Egypt Air 4878 cleared to land runway 35 left.
Singapore 4276 continue taxi. Capeville Ground Singapore 4276 with you.
Dynasty 8143 continue taxi. Capeville Ground Dynasty 8143 with you. Capeville clearance Spinnaker 8317 ready for pushback at Bravo 3. Spinnaker 8317 cleared for pushback. Capeville Tower Dynasty 8143 ready for takeoff runway 35 left.
Capeville Tower, good afternoon. FedEx 90738 is on approach.
Dynasty 8143 cleared for takeoff runway 35 left.
FedEx 90738 cleared to land runway 35 right.
Spinnaker 8317 taxi to runway 35 right.
Capeville Ground Egypt Air 4878 taxi to gate Bravo 1.
Malaysian 5361 cleared for pushback. Capeville Tower Spinnaker 8317 ready for takeoff runway 35 right. Spinnaker 8317 cleared for takeoff runway 35 right. Malaysian 5361 taxi to runway 35 left.
Egypt Air 4878 continue taxi.
Alaska 4576 clear to land runway 35 left.
Capeville Ground Egypt Air 4878 with you.
FedEx 90738 taxi to gate Charlie 4.
Berlin 4945 cleared for pushback. Capeville Ground Berlin 4945 ready to taxi. Berlin 4945 taxi to runway 35 right.
Capeville Tower Malaysian 5361 ready for takeoff runway 35 left. Malaysian 5361 cleared for takeoff runway 35 left. KLM 1825 cleared for pushback.
Capeville Ground Alaska 4576 taxi to gate Alpha 4.
Berlin 4945 cleared for takeoff runway 35 right.
Capeville Ground KLM 1825 ready to taxi. KLM 1825 taxi to runway 35 right.
Capeville Tower, good afternoon. China Eastern 7982 is on approach. China Eastern 7982 cleared to land runway 35 right.
Capeville Tower Alaska 4576 request to cross runway. Alaska 4576 continue taxi. Capeville Ground Alaska 4576 with you.
Capeville Tower KLM 1825 ready for takeoff runway 35 right.
Capeville Tower, good afternoon. Vueling 50902 is on approach. Vueling 50902 cleared to land runway 35 left.
KLM 1825 cleared for takeoff runway 35 right.
Capeville Ground, China Eastern 7982 requesting taxi to the gates. China Eastern 7982 taxi to gate Bravo 5.
Capeville Tower. Good afternoon. Iberia 3238 is on approach. Iberia 3238 clear to land runway 35 right.
Capeville Ground, Vueling 509 taxi to gate Bravo 3.
Capeville Ground. Iberia 3238 requesting taxi to the gates. Iberia 3238 taxi to gate Bravo 2.
Capeville Tower, Vueling 509 requested cross runway. Vueling 509 continue taxi. Capeville Ground, Vueling 509 with you.
Capeville clearance. Air China 2309er ready for pushback at Alpha 5.
WestJet 5018 clear to land runway 35 left.
Air China 2309er cleared for pushback.
Bangkok 5961 cleared for pushback.
Capeville Ground. Air China 2309er ready to taxi.
Capeville clearance. Korean 859 ready for pushback at Charlie 3.
Air China 2309er taxi to runway 35 left.
Bangkok 5961 taxi to runway 35 left.
Air India 3859 cleared for pushback. Capeville clearance. EVA 1555 ready for pushback at Charlie 2.
Sri Lankan 2671 cleared for pushback.
Capeville Tower. Good afternoon. Aegean 7814 is on approach. Aegean 7814 cleared to land runway 35 left.
Air China 2309er continue taxi. Capeville Ground. Air China 2309er with you.
Air India 3859 taxi to runway 35 left.
Bangkok 5961 continue taxi.
Air Canada 3613 cleared for pushback.
Finnair 8408 cleared to land runway 35 right.
Capeville Ground, Bangkok 5961 with you.
Sri Lankan 2671 taxi to runway 35 left.
EVA 1555 taxi to runway 35 left.
Korean 859 taxi to runway 35 left.
Capeville Tower. Air China 2309er ready for takeoff runway 35 left.
Air Canada 3613 taxi to runway 35 left.
WestJet 5018 continue taxi.
Singapore 4277 taxi to runway 35 left.
Capeville Ground WestJet 5018 with you.
Capeville Tower. Good evening. Air France 90664 is on approach. Air France 90664 cleared to land runway 35 right.
Air China 2309er cleared for takeoff runway 35 left.
Sri Lankan 2671 continue taxi.
Bangkok 5961 cleared for takeoff runway 35 left.
Aegean 7814 continue taxi.
Capeville Ground. Korean 859 with you.
Capeville Ground. Aegean 7814 with you.
Sri Lankan 2671 cleared for takeoff runway 35 left. Korean 859 cleared for takeoff runway 35 left.
Iroquois 8368 cleared to land runway 35 right.
EVA 1555 cleared for takeoff runway 35 left. Air India 3859 cleared for takeoff runway 35 left.
Air Canada 3613 cleared for takeoff runway 35 left.
KLM 3558 cleared to land runway 35 left.
Singapore 4277 cleared for takeoff runway 35 left.
Finnair 8408 taxi to gate Charlie 1.
Egypt Air 4879 cleared for takeoff runway 35 left.
Capeville Tower FedEx 90739 requested cross runway.
Air France 90664 requesting taxi to the gates.
FedEx 90739 continue taxi. Capeville Ground FedEx 90739 with you.
Capeville Tower, good evening. KLM 4402 is on approach. KLM 4402 cleared to land runway 35 right.
Air France 90664 taxi to gate Charlie 2.
FedEx 90739 cleared for takeoff runway 35 left.
Capeville Tower, good evening. Etihad 3066 Mayday Mayday Mayday.
Iroquois 8368 taxi to gate Alpha 2.
Capeville Ground KLM 3558 taxi to the gates.
Capital clearance Alaska 4577 ready for pushback at Alpha 4.
KLM 3558 taxi to gate Charlie 3.
Capeville Ground KLM 4402 requesting taxi to the gates.
Capeville Tower KLM 3558 requested cross runway. KLM 3558 continue taxi.
KLM 4402 taxi to gate Alpha 3.
Capeville Ground KLM 3558 with you.
Capeville clearance China Eastern 7983 ready for pushback at Bravo 5. China Eastern 7983 cleared for pushback.
Alaska 4577 cleared for pushback.
Capeville Ground China Eastern 7983 ready to taxi.
Vueling 50903 cleared for pushback.
China Eastern 7983 taxi to runway 35 right.
Alaska 4577 taxi to runway 35 left.
Capeville Ground Vueling 50903 ready to taxi. Vueling 50903 taxi to runway 35 right.
Capeville Tower China Eastern 7983 ready for takeoff runway 35 right. China Eastern 7983 cleared for takeoff runway 35 right.
Alaska 4577 continue taxi.
Eva 9384 clear to land runway 35 right.
Iberia 3239er cleared for pushback. Capeville Tower Alaska 4577 ready for takeoff runway 35 left.
Ezra 9630 cleared to land runway 35 right.
Vueling 50903 cleared for takeoff runway 35 right.
Alaska 4577 cleared for takeoff runway 35 left. Iberia 3239er taxi to runway 35 right.
Capeville Tower, good evening. Iroquois 7116 is on approach. Iroquois 7116 cleared to land runway 35 right.
Capeville Ground Eva 9384 taxi to the gates.
Capeville Tower Iberia 3239er ready for takeoff runway 35 right.
Egypt Air 7188 cleared to land runway 35 right.
Iberia 3239er cleared for takeoff runway 35 right.
Eva 9384 taxi to gate Charlie 4.
Ezra 9630 taxi to gate Alpha 4.
Capeville Tower, good evening. Ural 3372 is on approach. Ural 3372 cleared to land runway 35 left.
Capeville Ground Iroquois 7116 taxi to the gates.
Capeville clearance. WestJet 5019er ready for pushback at Alpha 5.
Qatari 1388 cleared to land runway 35 right.
Iroquois 7116 requesting taxi to the gates.
Capeville Ground, Egypt Air 7188 requesting taxi to the gates.
WestJet 5019er cleared for pushback.
Egypt Air 7188 taxi to gate Bravo 1.
WestJet 5019er taxi to runway 35 left.
Delamide 7776 clear to land runway 35 right.
Egypt Air 7188 hold position.
Iroquois 7116 taxi to gate Bravo 5.
Capeville clearance. Aegean 7815 ready for pushback at Alpha 1.
Qatari 90188 clear to land runway 35 right.
Egypt Air 7188 continue taxi.
Aegean 7815 cleared for pushback.
Capeville Ground Qatari 1388 taxi to the gates.
Ural 3372 taxi to gate Alpha 5.
Aegean 7815 taxi to runway 35 left.
Capeville Tower WestJet 5019er ready for takeoff runway 35 left.
Ural 3372 continue taxi.
WestJet 5019er cleared for takeoff runway 35 left.
Capeville Ground Ural 3372 with you.
Finnair 8409er taxi to runway 35 left.
Qatari 1388 requesting taxi to the gates.
Air France 90665 taxi to runway 35 left.
Delamide 7776 taxi to gate Alpha 1.
Capeville Ground Qatari 90188 taxi to the gates.
Capeville clearance. Iroquois 8369 ready for pushback to Alpha 2.
Capeville Tower. Good evening, FedEx 80906 is on approach. FedEx 80906 clear to land runway 35 left.
Aegean 7815 cleared for takeoff runway 35 left.
Iroquois 8369 taxi to runway 35 left. Capeville Tower, Air France 90665 request to cross runway. Air France 90665 continue taxi.
Capeville Tower. Finnair 8409er request to cross runway.
Capeville Ground, Air France 90665 with you.
Finnair 8409er continue taxi.
Qatari 1388 taxi to gate Bravo 5.
Capeville Ground. Finnair 8409er review.
Qatari 9188 taxi to gate Bravo 4.
Capeville Tower, Air France 90665 ready for takeoff runway 35 left. Capeville Tower, Iroquois 8369 request to cross runway. Air France 90665 cleared for takeoff runway 35 left.
Capeville Tower, good evening. Air India 1206 is on approach.
Iroquois 8369 continue taxi.
Finnair 8409er cleared for takeoff runway 35 left.
Air India 1206 cleared to land runway 35 right.
Capeville Ground, Iroquois 8369 with you.
FedEx 80906 taxi to gate Charlie 1.
KLM 3559 cleared for pushback.
Capeville Tower, Iroquois 8369 ready for takeoff runway 35 left. Iroquois 8369 cleared for takeoff runway 35 left.
Capeville clearance KLM 4403 ready for pushback at Alpha 3.
Air Portugal 1420 cleared to land runway 35 right.
KLM 3559 taxi to runway 35 left.
FedEx 80906 continue taxi. Capeville Ground FedEx 80906 with you.
KLM 4403 cleared for pushback. KLM 4403 taxi to runway 35 left.
Air India 1206 taxi to gate Alpha 2.
Capeville Tower. Good evening. Dynasty 2300 is on approach. Dynasty 2300 cleared to land runway 35 left.
Capeville Tower KLM 3559 ready for takeoff runway 35 left. KLM 3559er cleared for takeoff runway 35 left.
KLM 4403, continue taxi.
Air Portugal 1420 taxi to gate Alpha 3.
Capeville Ground, KLM 4403 with you. Capeville Tower, good evening. Asiana 4532 is on approach. Asiana 4532 cleared to land runway 35 right. Capeville Tower, KLM 4403 ready for takeoff runway 35 left. KLM 4403 cleared for takeoff runway 35 left.
Capeville Ground, Dynasty 2300 taxi to the gates.
Capeville Tower, good evening. Kestrel 5532 is on approach. Kestrel 5532 cleared to land runway 35 right.
Dynasty 2300 taxi to gate Charlie 2.
Capeville Tower, good evening. Iraqi 7116 is on approach. Iraqi 7116 clear to land runway 35 right.
Capeville Ground, Asiana 4532 taxi to the gates.
Capeville clearance, Eva 9385, ready for pushback at Charlie 4. Eva 9385, cleared for pushback.
Capeville clearance, Azure 9631, ready for pushback at Alpha 4.
Capeville Tower, good evening. Iberia 1632 is on approach.
Eva 9385, taxi to runway 35 left.
Asiana 4532 taxi to gate Charlie 3.
Iberia 1632 cleared to land runway 35 right. Capeville Ground, Kestrel 5532 requesting taxi to the gates.
Capeville Ground, Azure 9631, ready to taxi.
Capeville Tower, Dynasty 2300 request to cross runway.
Capeville Ground, Iraqi 7116 taxi to the gates.
Capeville Tower, good evening. KLM 6332 is on approach. KLM 6332 cleared to land runway 35.
Dynasty 2300 continue taxi.
Capeville Tower, Eva 9385, request to cross runway.
Azure 9631, taxi to runway 35 left.
Kestrel 5532 taxi to gate Alpha 4.
Capeville Tower, good evening. Egypt Air 7188 is on approach. Egypt Air 7188 cleared to land runway 35 left.
Iraqi 7116 taxi to gate Bravo 3.
Iberia 1632 taxi to gate Bravo 2.
Eva 9385, continue taxi. Capeville Ground, Eva 9385 with you. Capeville Tower, Eva 9385, ready for takeoff runway 35 left. Eva 9385, cleared for takeoff runway 35 left.
Capeville Ground, Egypt Air 7188 taxi to gate Bravo 1. Capeville Tower, Egypt Air 7188 request to cross runway. Egypt Air 7188 continue taxi. Capeville Ground, Egypt Air 7188 with you.
Capeville Tower, good evening. Air Canada 3378 is on approach. Air Canada 3378 cleared to land runway 35 left.
Ural 3373 cleared for pushback.
Qatari 1389 cleared for pushback.
Capital clearance Delamili 7777 ready for pushback at Alpha 1.
Asiana 4532 cleared to land runway 35 left.
Delamili 7777 cleared for pushback.
Euro 3373 taxi to runway 35 left.
Qatari 1389 taxi to runway 35 right.
Capital Tower good evening China Southern 7738 is on approach. China Southern 7738 clear to land runway 35 right. Delamili 7777 taxi to runway 35 left.
Euro 3373 continue taxi.
Qatari 1389 cleared for takeoff runway 35 right.
Dynasty 2300 cleared to land runway 35 right.
Qatari 90189 taxi to runway 35 right.
Capeville Tower Euro 3373 ready for takeoff runway 35 left.
Delamili 7777 continue taxi.
Capeville Ground Asiana 4532 taxi to the gates.
Capital Ground Delamili 7777 with you.
Euro 3373 cleared for takeoff runway 35 left.
Capital Tower good evening Air France China 378 is on approach. Air France China 378 cleared to land runway 35 right.
Delamili 7777 cleared for takeoff runway 35 left.
Air Canada 3378 continue taxi. Capital Ground Air Canada 3378 with you.
KLM 6332 cleared to land runway 35 left.
Asiana 4532 continue taxi.
Capeville Tower Qatari 90189 ready for takeoff runway 35 right.
Capeville Ground Asiana 4532 with you. Air India 1207 taxi to runway 35 left.
China Southern 7738 requesting taxi to the gates.
FedEx 8097 taxi to runway 35 left.
Qatari 90189 cleared for takeoff runway 35 right.
Dynasty 2300 taxi to gate Charlie 1.
Capeville 774 cleared to land runway 35 left.
Air India 1207 continue taxi.
Air Portugal 1421 taxi to runway 35 left.
Capeville Ground Air India 1207 with you.
Air France China 378 taxi to gate Charlie 3.
Air India 1207 cleared for takeoff runway 35 left.
Air Portugal 8752 cleared to land runway 35 right.
KLM 6332 taxi to gate Charlie 4. Capeville Tower FedEx 8097 ready for takeoff runway 35 left.
China Southern 7738 taxi to gate Bravo 4.
Air Portugal 1421 continue taxi.
Easy 5462 cleared to land runway 35 right.
Capeville Ground Air Portugal 1421 with you.
KLM 6332 continue taxi. FedEx 8097 cleared for takeoff runway 35 left.
Sunwing 90120 cleared to land runway 35 right.
Capeville Ground KLM 6332 with you.
Air Portugal 1421 cleared for takeoff runway 35 left.
Capeville Ground Capeville 774 taxi to the gates.
Air Portugal 8752 taxi to gate Alpha 2.
Capeville 774 requesting taxi to the gates.
Capeville clearance Kestrel 5533 ready for pushback at Alpha 4. Kestrel 5533 cleared for pushback.
Capeville 774 taxi to gate Bravo 5. Capeville Ground Easy 5462 taxi to the gates. Capeville 774 continue taxi.
Iraqi 7117 cleared for pushback.
Capeville Ground